Good evening. This is Monday, December 15th, 36 days until the inauguration of President-elect Barack Obama. The official White House transcript of that joint news conference by President Bush and Prime Minister Maliki in Baghdad reads nothing more than audience interruption. Also that it happened just after the president had said that although the war is not yet over, it is decisively on its way to being won. Our fifth story on the countdown, Mr. Bush's final trip to Iraq, perhaps his entire legacy in that country. Likely to be remembered for that audience interruption. An Iraqi correspondent for a Baghdad TV network throwing first one of his shoes, then the other, at the president's head. Iraqi television journalism, left shoe and right shoe. Fair and balanced. Nearly 6 years after the Bush administration predicted American troops would be greeted in Iraq with flowers and candy, the commander-in-chief welcomed instead with flying footwear, hurled by that Iraqi journalist, shouting in Arabic as he tossed the first shoe, quote, "This is a gift from the Iraqis. This is the farewell kiss, you dog." When the second shoe went airborne, Prime Minister Maliki trying to block it as it approached the podium, the reporter then yelling, "This is from the widows, the orphans, and those who were killed in Iraq." The man who lodged this singular protest against the American president twice, 28-year-old Muntader al-Zaidi, a correspondent for al-Baghdadiya, an Iraqi-owned cable news channel based in Egypt. Our correspondent Richard Engel reporting that Mr. Zaidi is well known in Baghdad with a reputation for reporting on civilian casualties, that he has been kidnapped by gunmen and detained by U.S. troops. Colleagues saying he has grown to hate U.S. soldiers. Immediately after the shoe-throwing incident, the president going for laughs as well as the parent of a toddler approach.
If you want the facts, it's a size 10 shoe that he threw. So what if the guy threw a shoe at me?
Despite being later informed by ABC's Martha Raddatz that throwing a shoe, being exposed to the sole of one's shoe, is also considered a terrific insult in the Arab world, despite protests today in Baghdad's Shiite slum of Sadr City, where they burned American flags and called for Mr. Zaidi's release. Mr. Bush telling Ms. Raddatz that the shoe-throwing incident barely registered with him.
I thought it was interesting. I thought it was weird. I thought it was unusual to have a guy throw a shoe at you. But I'm not insulted. I don't hold it against the government. I don't think the Iraqi press corps as a whole is terrible. And so the guy wanted to get on TV, and he did. I don't know what his beef is, but whatever it is, I'm sure somebody will hear it.
Let's turn now to Time World editor Bobby Ghosh, also the former Baghdad bureau chief for the magazine. Thanks for coming in tonight.
Thanks, Keith.
A top aide to the Iraqi prime minister told Richard Engel of our department there that Mr. Maliki is furious about this incident, that he'd like to see this man behind bars for 7 to 8 years. Is that in the realm of possibility, A, given the political climate in Iraq at the moment, and B, given the fact that it was a pair of thrown shoes and not a lethal weapon of any kind?
Well, I think it's very unlikely. Nouri Maliki is not Saddam Hussein. Mm-hmm. He is a politician. He has an election coming up in just over a month. And Mr. Zaidi is now, as you said in that report, very popular in the streets. So I think after a judicious few weeks, they'll make a magnanimous gesture and let him go with a warning and perhaps a ban from future press conferences.
What he shouted, to say nothing of his aim, makes it pretty clear to anybody who would look at this that the target was Bush and not Maliki. What would have happened? What would this incident have been like if he had in fact thrown this shoe or both shoes at Maliki and not Bush?
Well, I think he's had plenty of opportunities. Muntada has been at a lot of press conferences, including one that I was in a couple of weeks ago with Prime Minister Maliki. Had he thrown his shoes then, I think he would have got a similar treatment but less global attention. I think he would have been taken away, given a beating, put in jail for a little while, and then quietly released.
Is the reaction in public, the protests, are these likely to be one-day events, or is this the sort of an opening up of a can of worms that's been present for quite a time?
Well, he seems to have set off a new fashion trend in protest. We had a report today from Najaf that an American patrol passing through the holy city for the Shiites was pelted with stones by passers-by. So this may be something that Americans experience in other parts of Iraq, at least for a little while.
Is it, rank it on the cultural scale? Where is being hit by stones relative to being hit by one's shoe?
I think the shoe is much lower. I think it's it's much worse. The Western equivalent might be being pelted with rotten eggs, but it's actually a graver insult than that. The sole of one's foot is on the ground with mud, so you're being compared to mud, to dirt.
What President Bush said immediately before this incident, the war is not yet over, it is decisively on its way to being won. Did that, do you think, precipitate this, or is this report from ABC correct that it was so premeditated that he handed his cameraman a note that read, "It's glorious to die a martyr"?
I suspect it was probably premeditated. You go through several layers of security. They take away sometimes even your dictaphones. The only weapons he had were his shoes. I think he went in knowing that he wanted to do it, was looking for the moment. I doubt very much that he was even paying very much attention to what the president was saying.
All right, now everybody's going to go, it's going to be like airports here. We're all going to have to take our shoes off before press conferences. Right. But do you think we buried something in here? Because in that immediate afterwards, with that interview with ABC and Martha Raddatz, he said something rather extraordinary to her. He essentially admitted that there was no Al-Qaeda in Iraq operation until the United States got there. Is that really, should that have been the headline from Iraq the last 2 days? I think it should have.
I think the shoe has overtaken what would have been on another day a much bigger headline. If the president is admitting that the American presence essentially brought Al-Qaeda to Iraq, that is a huge and very telling admission.
But of course, with 40 days or less to go in his administration, his answer, "So what?" Is unfortunately very applicable, I suppose.
Indeed.
Bobby Ghosh, Time Magazine. Great, thanks for coming in and for your insights, sir.
Anytime.